Yemen's Houthi rebel group has hit another cargo ship in the Red Sea. However, in a first, they targeted a ship that was reportedly bound for Iran. The attack comes as a surprise because Iran is seen as the Houthi group's main backer. A Houthi spokesperson later said that the bulk carrier MV Star Iris was American-owned. However, reports say it is actually Greek-owned and was bound for Iran with a cargo of corn. US President Joe Biden met Jordan's King Abdullah at the White House yesterday. During the meeting, the two leaders discussed the status of the Israel-Hamas war and escalation in Rafah. Biden said that he is pushing for a 6-week pause in the fighting as he looks towards a longer ceasefire. The meeting came as Biden has become increasingly vocal about Israel not expanding its ground offensive to Rafah. France has delivered a written proposal to Beirut. This is to pacify tensions at the Israel-Lebanon border. The plan calls for Hezbollah's elite unit to withdraw to 10 kilometers away from the border. It aims to end fighting between Iran-backed Hezbollah and Israel. Hostilities between the two sides have been running parallel to the Israel-Hamas war. Syria has said that it is ready for new wars with Israel. Syrian Foreign Minister Faiz al-Mekdad has said that his top priority right now is to end the presence of any unauthorized foreign forces on Syrian territory. Mekdad said that Syria will fight to end the Israeli occupation of the disputed Golan Heights region. He said this at a joint press conference with his Iranian counterpart Hossein Amir Abdullah in Damascus. A Dutch court has ordered the government to block all exports of F-35 fighter jet parts to Israel. This is over concerns that they were being used in Israel's offensive in Gaza, which the court said violated international law. The Dutch court said that the state must comply with the order within 7 days. Last December, several human rights groups lodged the case against the Dutch government. The Kremlin has denied using Elon Musk's Starlink satellite services after allegations from Ukraine. Russia has said that the Starlink satellite internet system was not certified for use in the country. It added that the satellite was also not supplied to them. Earlier, Kyiv had accused Russian troops of using Starlink services in parts of Ukraine that they control. Brazil's former president Jair Bolsonaro has refuted coup allegations leveled against him. Bolsonaro has said that he was not in the country when he was supposedly trying to carry out a coup. The Brazilian police have accused Bolsonaro of editing a decree to overturn the result of the 2022 election that he lost to the current president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Meanwhile, a video has surfaced that shows a meeting between Bolsonaro and his cabinet ministers. It shows him urging action in the face of a potential victory by Lula. At least 5 people were injured in the Peruvian capital Lima yesterday. This was after an explosion occurred at an ironmongery business. An immense plume of thick smoke and flames filled the sky after the blast. Firefighters worked at the site to put out the flames. The cause of the blast is still under investigation. Meanwhile, another fire broke out at an amusement park in the Swedish city of Gothenburg. No guests were present at the Oceana water park when the fire erupted. According to officials, the fire started at one of the water rides. It engulfed outdoor water slides and some facilities that were under construction. One person was killed and 5 others were injured in a shooting in New York City. It took place at a subway station in the Bronx area. The police said that the shooting occurred after 2 groups of teenagers started a fight on a train. Following this, someone from one of the groups pulled out a gun and fired. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a 2-day visit to the United Arab Emirates. During his visit, the Indian PM is scheduled to hold bilateral meetings with the UAE's President, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. He will also interact with the Indian diaspora in the region. He is also scheduled to inaugurate Abu Dhabi's first ever Hindu temple tomorrow. Pakistan's caretaker Prime Minister Anwar ul Haq Kakkar has said that he will not investigate allegations of election irregularities. He has also denied accusations of vote tampering and the manipulation of results. This comes as Pakistan scrambles to choose a Prime Minister following an inconclusive election. Former PM Nawaz Sharif's party and independent candidates backed by jailed former PM Imran Khan are vying for the Prime Ministership. Thailand's jailed former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra is set to be freed from prison. He has been granted parole due to his deteriorating health. In August last year, Thaksin Shinawatra had returned to Thailand after more than 14 years in exile. He was taken to court immediately after he returned, and he was jailed for 8 years for abuse of power. However, a royal pardon later reduced his term to 1 year. In Haiti, residents are being forced to flee their homes amid escalating gang violence. Footage shows displaced Haitians seeking refuge outside a police station in the capital, Port-au-Prince. This comes as gang violence has spiked in the Haitian capital. Police are battling alliances of heavily armed gangs that control most of the city. The conflict has fueled a humanitarian crisis that has forced hundreds of thousands to flee their homes to escape the violence. Protests have flared up in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Police fired tear gas to disperse protesters in the capital Kinshasa yesterday. Demonstrators were seen burning American and Belgian flags near Western embassies and United Nations offices. This is because they accuse the West of supporting the neighboring country of Rwanda. The DRC accuses Rwanda of backing the M23 rebel group. The M23 group has been active in the DRC for years and launched a major new offensive 2 days ago. In climate news, Italy has been facing one of the hottest winters in history. This is according to the Italian Institute of Atmosphere and Climate. They report that this year, mountains are unusually green instead of white with snow. They add that it has become hard to find snow at an altitude above 2,000 meters. The report also says that Italian mountains have lost 30 days of snow over the last century. The U.S. state of Alabama was marred by flash floods and thunderstorms. This led to the closing of multiple roads in Houston County. Most parts of Alabama and the state of Georgia have received flood alerts. Several parts of the UAE experienced heavy rain and hail yesterday. The unstable weather caused flooding and stalled traffic in the city of Dubai. Meanwhile, the neighboring country of Oman also witnessed severe rainfall in some regions. Citizens were warned to avoid low-lying areas and take precautions. The recent deadly landslide in the southern Philippines has claimed 68 lives so far. Rescuers are still looking for 51 missing people. Meanwhile, the U.S. is providing humanitarian aid of more than $1 million. Earlier this month, a landslide struck a gold mine in Indonesia's Mako town as well. More than a fifth of the world's migrating species are at risk of going extinct. This is according to a recent report by the United Nations. The report adds that around 44% of these species are seeing a decline in their population. This is a result of climate change and human encroachment. Human activities such as hunting and fishing are impacting at least 70% of the species on the UN endangered list. On to business and tech news. Official data showed that inflation in India eased in January. Inflation stood at 5.1% last month compared to 5.7% in December 2023. Food inflation also declined from 9.5% to 8.3%. However, it remained the biggest contributor to overall price rise. The U.S. federal budget deficit dropped sharply in January. January's deficit stood at $17 billion, which is 43% lower than the same period last year. The budget deficit represents the US government's excess spending compared to its revenues. This deficit has been rising in the last few years. The European Union is reportedly planning to sanction over 24 firms. The list includes 3 Chinese companies. The EU accuses these firms of supporting Russia's war in Ukraine. The restrictions would ban European companies from trading with the firms. Australia's 4th biggest bank, the ANZ Group, is planning to reduce its headcount. According to a report, the company will lay off over 170 employees. The job cuts will impact the bank's commercial banking operations team. Many Australian banks have reportedly reduced back-office jobs as they automate their operations. India's low-cost airline SpiceJet is reportedly laying off over 1,400 employees. This represents around 15% of the airline's workforce. The company has not confirmed the number of jobs being cut. However, SpiceJet has said that the job cuts will help it save around $12 million annually. Canada's BlackBerry has announced layoffs to reduce cost. The number of affected workers has not been revealed. However, the firm has said that with this move, it aims to save $100 million in annual profits. BlackBerry laid off over 200 workers last year as well. Thousands of Uber and Lyft drivers will go on strike on February 14th or Valentine's Day in the US. Workers at food delivery firm DoorDash will also join the strike. They are demanding fair pay from their companies. The drivers have accused the companies of charging high commissions on their ride fares. Bitcoin, the world's largest cryptocurrency, crossed the $50,000 mark yesterday. This is the first time in over 2 years that the virtual currency has touched this level. Bitcoin has risen by over 16% this year so far. This was after Bitcoin ETFs got regulatory approval in the US last month. ETFs allow investors to gain exposure to the cryptocurrency's price movements without actually holding Bitcoins themselves. Shares of chipmaker ARM once again surged by over 40% yesterday. The firm's stock market value reached a record $141 billion. This is nearly 3 times higher compared to its initial public offering value last year. This comes as investors are expecting ARM to gain from the high demand for artificial intelligence chips. ARM's shares have surged by over 80% in the last 2 weeks. Meanwhile, AI chipmaker Nvidia stocks are also on the rise. Nvidia's market value briefly overtook Amazon during yesterday's trading session. However, by the end of the trade, the firm's market capitalization stood at $1.78 trillion, just a little shy of Amazon's $1.79 trillion. Moving to sport, in cricket, the Indian camp suffered another blow in the lead-up to the 3rd test against England in Rajkot. KL Rahul has been ruled out of the 3rd test due to a sore knee. Devdutt Padikkal, his Karnataka teammate, has been called in as a replacement. KL Rahul earlier missed the 2nd test in Visakhapatnam. However, he was named for the last 3 only if he met the fitness requirements. And England encountered another visa issue after Shoaib Bashir. This time it was spinner Rehan Ahmed. Ahmed was stopped at the airport in Rajkot as he didn't have the correct paperwork. He and his team were off to Abu Dhabi during the 10-week break between the 2nd and the 3rd test. Reports say he was just carrying a single entry visa. Najmul Hussain has been named Bangladesh's captain for all 3 formats. He was reappointed as skipper for the coming year. The availability of Shakib Al Hasan, Bangladesh's regular choice captain, is still uncertain. The 25-year-old Najmul Hussain is a top-order batter and has led Bangladesh in its last 2 series against New Zealand. Afghanistan announced a 16-man squad for its T20 international series against Sri Lanka. Ibrahim Zadran will continue to lead the side. Afghanistan's regular T20 skipper Rashid Khan is still recovering from a back surgery. The three-match T20 international series against Sri Lanka starts on February 17th. In football, English Premier League club Chelsea rallied from behind to beat Crystal Palace 3-1 at Selhurst Park. Conor Gallagher scored twice for the Blues. Enzo Fernandez sealed the win for Chelsea with his final goal in added time. The result adds pressure on Crystal Palace, who just sit 5 points above the relegation zone. A footballer died after being struck by lightning in Indonesia. The victim's name is Septain Raharja. The tragic incident happened during a friendly between FC Bandung and Fabi Subang. The 35-year-old later died in the hospital after suffering intense heat burns. In tennis, world number one Iga Świątek entered the third round of the Qatar Open yesterday. She trounced Romania's Corana Serstia 6-1, 6-1 in straight sets. Meanwhile, Naomi Osaka continued her comeback to professional tennis. She avenged her Australian Open loss to Carolina Garcia with a 7-5, 6-4 first-round win. In Formula One, Aston Martin launched their new racing car named AMR24 for the 2024 season. Lance Stroll, who has been with the F1 franchise for 4 years, was the first one to take the car for a test run on the tracks of Silverstone. This week, Ferrari, Mercedes and McLaren are all set to unveil their new cars. In darts, Luke Littler beat Ryan Searle 8-7 in a thrilling final with an average of 110 to capture the Players' Championship title on his debut. The 17-year-old sensation Littler has also hit a 9-darter finish in one of the earlier rounds. That was in his 6-1 win over Michel Taretta in their last 32 tie earlier in the day. The Kenyan government paid tribute to the men's world marathon record holder Kelvin Kiptum, who died in a fatal car accident on the 11th of February. He was hailed as a national hero by the government officials. Kiptum was driving with his coach and a woman in a car. He lost control of the vehicle, which veered off into a tree and crashed. In entertainment news, the Academy Awards hosted its official annual luncheon in California's Beverly Hills yesterday. A vibrant crowd of actors, filmmakers and cinephiles were in attendance to celebrate this year's nominations. However, the pet dog Messi, who played the role of Snoop in Anatomy of a Fall, stole the spotlight. Celebrities including Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone and Robert Downey Jr. attended the event. The group also posed for a group photo at the end. According to reports, Tom Cruise and his partner Elsina Kairova are dating. Cruise has been spending a lot of time at Kairova's house in London, but the couple is always careful to not get spotted by shutterbugs when they are out. Margot Robbie's production house Lucky Chap has signed a multi-year film deal with Warner Brothers. An executive from Warner Brothers said that they are excited about the collaboration. They are looking forward to creating films of all sizes and genres for moviegoers. In an interview, Margot Robbie expressed her desire to expand her production house into an entertainment empire. The actor Ben Wang has been signed to play the role of the Karate Kid. He landed the role after the makers launched a global search for the perfect actor. Wang is fluent in Mandarin and possesses various skills like martial arts, including Taekwondo and Kung Fu. The Karate Kid franchise is an American martial arts drama series. The sixth movie of the series is slated to release on the 13th of December in 2024. According to reports, South Korean singer Lisa has joined the cast of White Lotus Season 3. She will be making her acting debut with the series. Season 3 of the hit HBO series will be shot in places like Phuket and Bangkok in Thailand. Lisa is a member of the girl band group Blackpink. Singer Jennifer Lopez might retire after releasing her upcoming album This Is Me Now. In an interview, Lopez revealed that she is unsure if she will release another album after this one. She says, and I quote, "This might be my last album ever." Lopez calls her album a quintessential kind of Jennifer Lopez J-Lo project. This Is Me Now will release on the 16th of February. The Indian singer Prateek Kuhad will be performing with Ed Sheeran in India. According to reports, Kuhad will be opening the show for Sheeran. Kuhad will also be joined by singer-songwriter Callum Scott. Sheeran will be performing in Mumbai on the 16th of March as a part of his 2024 tour. The singer Usher tied the knot with his longtime partner Jennifer Goycochea in Las Vegas. This happened hours after he wrapped up his performance at the Super Bowl. According to reports, they got hitched at an outdoor wedding chapel with 30 guests. Usher's mother and manager, Jonetta Patton, served as the witness for their marriage. The makers of Kingdom of the Planet released the trailer of their upcoming film. The story is set 300 years after the events of the 2017 film War for the Planet of the Apes. The film has been helmed by the Maze Runner series director Wes Ball. It will release in theaters on the 10th of May. Streaming platform Netflix has released the teaser of their upcoming film Scoop. The film is based on Prince Andrew's 2019 interview about his ties with Jeffrey Epstein, who was an American financier and sex offender. The role of Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, is being played by the actor Rufus Sewell. Scoop premieres on the 5th of April.
It's over!